Shalom, shalom. I have to tell you, I'm really excited. We're getting into another book today. We're going into Judges. We're into Judges 1 through 5. And to be honest, it always baffles me how quick the fall is. We're doing all the things, we are making a way. We've crossed the river again. We're doing the things, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we left these people. Oh, we left these people too. Oh, some dude didn't get rid of all this stuff. Now we're all in trouble. Got to put that guy in the band. It's just one after another, and sadly, yeah, we're about to again see the fall pretty quick. But anyway, we're gonna get into it. Chapter 1, Judges. And it came to be, after the death of YHWH, that the children of Israel asked Yahweh, saying, who of us should go up first against the Canaanites to fight against them? And Yahweh said, Yehudah does go up. See, I have given the land into his hand. And Yehudah said to Simon his brothers, come up with me into my allotment, and let us fight against the Canaanites, and I myself shall also go with you into your allotment. So Shimon went with him, and Yehudah went up, and Yahweh gave the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hand, and they struck 10,000 men at Bezek. And they found Adoni-Bezek and Bezek, and fought against him, and struck the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And Adoni-Bezek fled, and they pursued him, and caught him, and cut off his thumbs and big toes. Interesting punishment. And Adoni-Bezek said, 70 sovereigns with their thumbs and big toes cut off used to gather food under my table. Oh, this is probably exactly why they did it. Anyway. And Adoni-Bezek said, 70 sovereigns with their thumbs and big toes cut off used to gather food under my table. As I have done, so Elohim has repaid me. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and he died there. And the children of Yehudah fought against Jerusalem, and captured it, and struck it with the edge of the sword, and set the city on fire. And afterward the children of Yehudah went down to fight against the Canaanites who dwelt in the mountains, in the south, and in the low country. And Yehudah went against the Canaanites who dwelt in Hebron. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba. And they struck Shishaiah, and Ahiman, and Talmai. And from there they went against the inhabitants of Debir. Now the name of Debir was formerly Kiriath Sefer. And Caleb said, he who smites Kiriath Sefer and shall capture it, to him I shall give my daughter Achsah as wife. And Othniel, son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother, captured it, and he gave him his daughter Achsah as wife. And it came to be, when she came in, that she urged him to ask her father for a field. And when she got off from her donkey, Caleb said to her, what is the matter? And she said to him, give me a blessing, since you have given me land in the south. Give me also springs of water. So Caleb gave her the upper springs and the lower springs. And the children of the Canaanite, father-in-law of Moses, went up from the city of palms with the children of Yehudah into the wilderness of Yehudah, which is in the Negeb of Arad, and they went and dwelt among the people. And Yehudah went with Shimon his brother, and they struck the Canaanites who inhabited Sephah, and put it under the ban. So the name of the city was called Hormah. And Yehudah captured Azah and its border, and Ashkelon and its border, and Ekron and its border. And Yahweh was with Yehudah. And they took possession of the mountains, but they were unable to drive out the inhabitants of the plain, because they had chariots of iron. And they gave Hebron to Caleb, as Moshe had said, and he drove out from there 3 sons of Anak. However, the children of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites who inhabited Jerusalem. So the Jebusites have dwelt with the children of Benjamin in Jerusalem to this day. And the house of Joseph also went up against Bethel, and Yahweh was with them. And the house of Joseph sent men to spy out Bethel. Now the name of the city was formerly Luz. And the watchmen saw a man coming out of the city, and they said to him, Please, show us the entrance to the city, and we shall show you loving commitment. So he showed them the entrance to the city, and they struck the city with the edge of the sword, but the man and all his clan they let go. And the man went to the land of the Hittites and built the city, and called its name Luz, which is its name to this day. And Manasseh did not dispossess Beth Shean and its villages, nor Taanach and its villages, nor the inhabitants of Dor and its villages, nor the inhabitants of Ebelim and its villages, nor the inhabitants of Megiddo and its villages, for the Canaanites desired to dwell in the land. And it came to be, when Israel was strong, that they put the Canaanites into compulsory labor, but did not completely drive them out. Neither did Ephraim drive out the Canaanites who dwelt in Gezer, so the Canaanites dwelt in their midst in Gezer. Neither did Zebulun drive out the inhabitants of Kithron, or the inhabitants of Nahalol, so the Canaanites dwelt in their midst and became compulsory labor. Neither did Asher drive out the inhabitants of Akkob, nor the inhabitants of Sidon, nor of Alab, nor of Agzib, nor of Helba, nor of Aphik, nor of Rehob, so the Asherites dwelt in the midst of the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land, because they did not drive them out. Neither did Naphtali drive out the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh, nor the inhabitants of Beth Anath, but they dwelt among the Canaanites, the inhabitants of the land. And the inhabitants of Beth Shemesh and of Beth Anath became compulsory labor for them. And the Amorites pressed the children of Dan into the mountains, for they would not allow them to come down to the valley. And the Amorites desired to dwell in Mount Heres, in Aelon, and in Shaalbim. But when the hand of the house of Joseph became stronger, they became compulsory labor. And the border of the Amorites was from the ascent of Akrabim, from Salah and upward. So again, literally, like we just finished the first chapter in Judges, and like nobody's doing what they're supposed to be. No, not a soul. Not we. Anyway, chapter 2. And the messenger of Yahweh, the messenger of Yahuwah, came up from Gilgal to Bochim, and said, I led you up from Mitzrayim, and brought you to the land of which I swore to your fathers. And I said, I do not break my covenant with you. And as for you, do not make a covenant with the inhabitants of this land. Break down their slaughter places. But you have not obeyed my voice. What is this you have done? Therefore I also said, I am not driving them out before you. And as they shall be adversaries to you, and their mighty ones shall be a snare to you. And it came to be, when the messenger of Yahuwah spoke these words to all the children of Israel, that the people lifted up their voice and wept. Yeah, I feel bad for them. My heart sinks for them as well. So they called the name of that place Bochim, and slaughtered there to Yahuwah. Then Yehoshua dismissed the people and the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went each to his own inheritance to possess the land. So this clearly Yehoshua was still alive whenever this happened. And the people served. So this is not that far off from, not that far off from crossing the river. And the people served Yahweh all the days of Yehoshua, and all the days of the elders who outlived Yehoshua, who had seen all the great works of Yahweh, which he had done for Israel. And Yehoshua, son of Nun, the servant of Yahweh, died 110 years old. And they buried him within the border of his inheritance in Timnah Heres, in the mountains of Ephraim, on the north side of Mount Gash. And all the generations were likewise gathered to their fathers, and another generation arose after them who did not know Yahweh, nor the work which he had done for Israel. Then the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and served the Baals. and forsook Yahuwah, Elohim of their fathers, who had brought them out of the land of Mitzrayim, and went after other mighty ones, of the people who were all around them. And they bowed down to them, and provoked Yahuwah. So they forsook Yahuwah, and served Baal, and the Asherah, and Ashtoreth. And the displeasure of Yahuwah burned against Israel. Therefore he gave them into the hands of plunderers who despoiled them, and he sold them into the hands of their enemies all around, and they were unable to stand before their enemies any longer. Wherever they went out, the hand of Yahuwah was against them for evil, as Yahweh had spoken, and as Yahweh had sworn to them, and as they were distressed greatly. Then Yahuwah raised up rulers who saved them from the hand of those who plundered them. However, they did not listen to their rulers either, but went whoring after other mighty ones, and bowed down to them. They soon turned aside from the way in which their fathers walked, and obeying the commands of Yahuwah, they did not do so. And when Yahuwah raised up rulers for them, Yahweh was with the ruler, and saved them from the hand of their enemies all the days of the ruler. For Yahuwah had compassion on the groaning because of those who oppressed them and crushed them. And it came to be, when the ruler was dead, that they would turn back, and do more corruptly than their fathers, to go after other mighty ones, to serve them and bow down to them. They did not refrain from their practices, and from their stubborn way. And the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Israel, and he said, Because this nation has transgressed my covenant that I commanded their fathers, and has not obeyed my voice, I also shall no longer drive out before them any of the nations which Yehoshua left when he died, in order to try Israel by them, whether they would guard the way of Yahuwah, to walk in them as their fathers guarded them, or not. So Yahweh left those nations without driving them out at once, and did not give them into the hand of Yehoshua. And these are the nations which Yahweh left to try Israel by them, all those who had not known all the battles in Canaan. Sorry, my thing looks a little funny. Make sure we can all see that. Yeah, did not. And we'll just restart. And these are the nations which Yahweh left to try Israel by them, all those who had not known all the battles in Canaan, only that the generations of the children of Israel might know, to teach them battle, only those who before did not know them. 5 princes of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites, who dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Hermon to the entrance of Hamath, and they were to try Israel by them, to know whether they would obey the commands of Yahweh, which he had commanded their fathers by the hand of Moshe. Thus the children of Israel dwelt in the midst of the Canaanites, the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and took their daughters to be their wives, and gave their daughters to their sons, and they served their mighty ones. Thus the children of Israel did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, and forgot Yahweh their Elohim, and served the Baals and the Asherahs. And the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Israel, and he sold them into the hand of Cushan Rishathaim, sovereign of Aram Naharaim, and the children of Israel served Cushan Rishathaim 8 years. And when the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh, Yahweh raised up a Savior for the children of Israel, who saved them, Oniel son of Kenaz, Caleb's younger brother. And the Spirit of Yahweh came upon him, and he ruled Israel, and went out to battle, and Yahweh gave into his hand Cushrithayim, sovereign of Aram Naharaim, and his hand prevailed over Cushan Rishathaim, and the land had rest for 40 years. Then Othniel, son of Kenaz, died. And the children of Israel again did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. And Yahweh made Eglon, sovereign of Moab, strong against Israel, because they had done evil in the eyes of Yahweh. And he gathered to the and he gathered to himself the children of Ammon and Amalek, and went and struck Israel, and they took possession of the city of palms. And the children of Israel served Eglon, sovereign of Moab, 18 years. And when the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh, Yahweh raised up a savior for them, Ehud, son of Gera, a Benjamite, a man impeded in his right hand. Ehud, son of Gera, a Benjamite, a man impeded in his right hand, and by him the children of Israel sent a present to Eglon, sovereign of Moab. And Ehud made himself a sword, and it was double-edged, and a cubit in length, and he girded it under his long robe on his right thigh. And he brought the present to Eglon, sovereign of Moab. Now Eglon was a very fat man, and it came to be that when he had finished bringing near the present, he sent away the people bearing the present, but he himself turned back from the stone images that were at Gilgal, and said, I have a concealed message for you, O sovereign. And he said, Be silent. And all those who standing beside him went out from him. And Ehud came to him while he was sitting in his cool roof room, and Ehud said, I have a message from Elohim for you. So he arose from his seat, and Ehud reached in his left hand, and he took his sword from his right thigh, and thrust it into his stomach. And the handle went in after the blade, and the fat closed over the blade, for he did not draw the sword out of his stomach, and it came out behind. Then Ehud went out to the porch, and shut the doors of the upper room behind him, and locked them. And when he had gone out, his servants came to look, and saw the doors of the roof room were locked. So they said, He is only covering his feet in the cool roof room. And they waited until they were ashamed, but saw he was not opening the doors of the upper room. So they took the key and opened them, and saw their master fallen to the ground dead. But while they were delaying, Ehud escaped and had passed beyond the stone images and escaped to Syria. Escaped to Sisera. And it came to be, when he arrived, that he blew the shofar in the mountains of Ephraim, and the children of Israel went down with him from the mountains, with him leading them. And he said to them, Follow me, for Yahweh has given your enemies, the Moabites, into your hands. And they went down after him, and took the fords of Jordan leading to Moab, and did not allow anyone to pass over. And they struck about 10,000 men of Moab at that time, all robust and brave men, and not a man escaped. And on that day Moab was humbled under the hand of Israel, and all the land had rest for 80 years. And after him was Shamgar, son of Anath, and he struck 600 men of the Philistines with an ox goad. And he too saved Israel. And when Ehud was dead, the children of Israel again did evil in the eyes of Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh sold them into the hand of Jabin, the sovereign of Canaan, who reigned in Hatzor, and the commander of his army was Sisera, who was dwelling in Hatzerath Hagoyim. And the children of Israel cried out to Yahweh, because he had 900 chariots of iron, and for 20 years he harshly oppressed the children of Israel. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was ruling Israel at that time. And she was dwelling under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Beth El in the mountains of Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for right ruling. And she sent and called for Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kadesh in Naphtali, and said to him, Has not Yahweh Elohim of Israel commanded, Go, and you shall draw towards Mount Tabor, and shall take with you 10,000 men of the sons of Naphtali and the sons of Zebulun. And I shall draw unto you Sisera, the commander of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his company at the Wadi Kishon, and shall give him into your hand. And Barak said to her, If you go with me, then I shall go. But if you do not go with me, I do not go. And she said, I shall certainly go with you. Only There shall be no esteem for you in the journey you are taking, for YHWH is going to sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. So Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up, 10,000 men under his command. And Deborah went up with him. And Heber the Canaanite, of the children of Hobab, the father-in-law of Moshe, had separated himself from the Canaanites and pitched his tent near the terebinth tree at Sinyamin, which is beside Kadesh. And they reported to Sisera that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone to Mount Tabor. So Sisera called all his chariots, 900 chariots of iron, and all the people who were with him, from Hatzereth Hagoyim to the Wadi Kishon. And Deborah said to Barak, Rise up, for this is the day which YHWH has given Sisera into your hand. Has not YHWH gone out before you? And Barak went down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men after him. And YHWH destroyed Sisera and all his chariots and all his army with the edges of the sword before Barak. And Sisera leapt from his chariot and fled away on foot. But Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as Harosheth Hagoyim, and all the army of Sisera fell by the edge of the sword, not one was left. Sisera, meanwhile, had fled on foot to the tent of Yael, the wife of Heber, the Canaanite. The Canaanite. For there was peace between Jabin, sovereign of Hatzor, and the house of Heber, the Canaanite. And Yael went out to meet Sisera, and said to him, Turn aside, my master, turn aside to me. Do not fear. So he turned aside with her into the tent, and she covered him with a blanket. And he said to her, Please give me a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. So she opened a bottle of milk and gave him a drink and covered him. And he said to her, Stand at the door of the tent, and it shall be, if anyone comes and asks you and says, Is there a man here? You shall say, No. But Yael, Heber's wife, took a tent peg and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly to him and drove the peg into the side of his head, and went down into the ground. For he was fast asleep and exhausted, and he died. Wicked. That's sick. And see, as Barak pursued Sisera, Yael came out to meet him, and said to him, Come, let me show you the man whom you are seeking. And when he went into her tent, there lay Sisera, dead with the peg in the side of his head. And on that day Elohim humbled Jabin, sovereign of Canaan, in the presence of the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel grew stronger and stronger against Jabin, sovereign of Canaan, until they had cut off Jabin, sovereign of Canaan. Need a sip. Chapter 5. And on that day, Deborah and Barak, son of Abinoam, sang, saying, For leaders leading in Israel, for the people hearing, bless YHWH. Hear, O sovereigns, give ear, O princes. I do sing to Yahweh. I sing praises to YHWH, Elohim of Israel. Yahweh, when you went out from Seir, when you stepped from the field of Edom, the earth shook and the heavens poured. The clouds also poured water. The mountains flowed at the presence of Yahweh. This Sinai at the presence of YHWH, Elohim of Israel. And the days of Shamgar, the sons of Anath, and the days of Yael, the highways were deserted, and the travelers went in crooked ways. Leadership ceased. It ceased in Israel until I, Deborah, arose. A mother in Israel arose. They chose new mighty ones. Then fighting was at its gates, was in the gates. Neither a shield nor spear was seen among 40,000 in Israel. My heart is toward the inscribers of Israel, the volunteers among the people. Bless YHWH. You who ride on white donkeys, you who sit on rich carpets, and you who walk along the way, declare it. By the voice of shouters, between the places of drawing water, There they recount the righteous acts of Yahweh, the righteous acts of his leadership in Israel. Then the people of Yahweh shall go down to the gates. Wake up, Deborah. Wake up, wake up. Sing a song. Arise, Barak, and lead your captives away, O son of Abinoam. Then he set the remnant to rule the nobles. Then he set the remnant to rule the nobles. Yahweh came down for me against the mighty ones. Out of Ephraim, their root is against Amalek. After you, Benjamin, with your peoples, out of Machir and scribers come down, and out of Zebulun, those who handle the scribes read. Those who handle the scribes read. And the heads of Issachar were with Deborah, and as Issachar, so is Barak, sent into the valley under his command. Among the divisions of Reuben there were great searchings of heart. Why did you remain among the sheepfolds to hear the bleatings of the flocks? The division of Reuben have great searchings of heart. Gad remained among the Jordan, and why did Dan sojourn by the ships? Asher continued at the seashore and remained by its landing places. Zebulun is a people who risked their lives to the point of death. Naphtali also on the heights of the field. Sovereigns came, they fought, and the sovereigns of Canaan fought in Tanakh. By the waters of Megiddo they took no spoils of silver. From the heavens they fought. The stars from their courses fought against Sisera. The Wadi of Kishon swept them away, the age-old Wadi, the Wadi of Kishon. Oh, my being, you have trampled in strength. Then stamped hooves of horses with the galloping of his steeds. Curse Meroz, said a messenger of Yahuwah. Curse, curses, goodness gracious, words. Curse Meroz, said a messenger of Yahuwah. Curses its inhabitants, because they did not come to help. To goodness. Okay. Sorry. Tongue twisters, or I'm having a hard time reading right now. Curse Meroz, said a messenger of Yahuwah. Curse its inhabitants, because they did not come to the help of Yahuwah, to the help of Yahuwah among the mighty. Blessed above women is Yael, the wife of Hever the Canaanite. Above women in tents she is blessed. He asked for water, she gave milk. She brought out curdled milk in a bowl for nobles. She stretched her hand to the tent peg, and her right hand to the workman's hammer. Then she pounded Sisera. She smashed his head. She pierced and struck through the side of his head. Between her feet he bowed. He fell. He lay still. Between her feet he bowed. He fell. Where he bowed, there he fell, destroyed. Through the window the mother of Sisera looked, and cried out through the lattice, Why does his chariot delay to come? Why have the steps of his chariots tarried? The wise ones of her princesses answered her. Indeed, she answered herself. Do they not find and divide the spoil? A girl or two for each man, a spoil of dyed work for Sisera, a spoil of dyed work embroidered, dyed work richly embroidered for the necks of the looter. So do all your enemies perish, O Yahuwah. But let those who love him be like the sun rising in its midst. And the land had rest for 40 years. I heard something about this. I heard some expanding on this. Right, as we go forward from here, right, we're going to see things like, and this guy was a great king, and he ruled for 40 years, and then he died. And the next one is, and this guy was absolutely terrible, and he only reigned for 8 years. But here's 2 chapters on all the bad stuff that he did. And it's like, why don't we talk about the good guy too? That's because the good guy is doing all the stuff that he's supposed to be doing. You know, whenever you become a king, well, whenever you were the king of Israel, you're supposed to write a copy of the Torah yourself, so that way you know it. But obviously that didn't happen all the time. Or maybe if it did, they made it their own Torah and not Elohim's Torah. Not the Torah of Elohim. But there's a lot here. I love you guys. I hope you can see some of it for yourself. Don't be afraid to go back and reread and pray over it and ask that Dad will show you what he wants you to see. But until we meet again, may Yahuwah bless you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall bless them. Shalom, shalom.